Hi YouTube! I wanted to come on today to give my top 10 tips for Pinterest. I use Pinterest for my Merch by Amazon account, so this video will be geared a little more towards people with print-on-demand businesses, but I highly recommend using Pinterest for any kind of business that you have. Pinterest is one of the largest search engines out there, and people who use it are actually using it specifically to look for things that they're interested in buying. So it really is something that shouldn't be overlooked if you're a business owner. All right, so let's get into the top 10 tips. Tip number one is to really focus on making sure your pins are beautiful. Pinterest is a very visual platform, and Pinterest really likes it if you have long vertical pins. Some of the pins that do the best are infographics. So it's a long pin that has, a top 10 or something, some kind of information about your company or about the product, something that looks visually appealing and interesting to a consumer. Anything that looks really good, people are more likely to repin. Of course, it's just common sense. But we get busy and sometimes we just want to pin something just to pin something. But really make sure that you're spending time making your pins beautiful, making your pins appealing, making them something that someone would want to share and want to repin. Because the beauty of Pinterest is that once it's pinned, it's up there forever. So people will be repinning your pins for months to come, years to come. So really spend the time to make sure that your pins are beautiful. If you are doing Merch by Amazon like I am, or any kind of print on demand, one way that can help with this is to make mock-ups. So instead of just pinning a t-shirt, you're pinning a t-shirt with someone actually wearing it. And there's a lot of sites that help with this. So one of those sites is called Placeit. And all you have to do is you just go on Placeit and then you pick a person that looks like they're in a situation that they would wear your shirt. So maybe it's a person sitting there with a cup of coffee and your shirt has to do with coffee. So you would pick that person, upload your shirt, and then you have a beautiful image of a person wearing your shirt drinking a cup of coffee. And then you can use that on Pinterest and it's more likely to be repinned. Another app that helps is called Canva. And Canva really helps you make beautiful pins. They have templates that you can use and you just switch out the image to be a picture of your shirt or a picture of a mock-up, and then add in some words describing the shirt, and you have a beautiful pin. Other things that I use are GIFs or GIFs, I don't know how you say it, GIFs. There's all kinds of apps that help you make those, and again, it makes the image more compelling. It's showing something moving, or there's some kind of play button that people want to click on. So videos, GIFs, anything like that. There's apps that make it so easy to make those, and it's just that little extra effort that really makes your pin more likely to go viral, or at least more likely to get repinned by others. So really don't overlook that. I put it as number one because it really is the most important. Beautiful pins is very important. Do not miss that step. All right, tip number two. Tip number two is to pin a mix of your own pins and other people's pins. So it saves you some time. What I do is I have boards with all different little niches. So for instance, if it's my dog board, I'll go on Pinterest, I'll go to the trending section. It's at the top of Pinterest, is this little icon that is for trending pins. So you click on that and just search for dogs or search for any category. They have a whole list of categories. You could pick any category that matches your niche, and it'll show you what's trending. And the good thing about repinning something that's trending is it's likely that people are going to keep repinning that. So if they're repinning something that you pinned, even if it's not your particular shirt or your particular product, it still shows your name that you pinned it, and it'll be likely that people will click back and see what other pins you have if they liked that pin. And it really will help you gain more followers and more exposure. Um, and also, you want to repin from boards or from people that you would like them to follow you. So if they have a similar interest as some of your boards, you could go on their board and repin some of their pins. It'll help them notice you. It'll help them want to follow you because you are helping them out. You're repinning their pins. So that's my tip number 2, is just to pin a mix of your own pins and other people's pins. Tip number 3 is to use a service to help you automate this process. So it's really important to pin your pins at peak times. You don't want to be pinning something at 4 in the morning or some kind of time where people are not likely to be on Pinterest. So you want to be pinning your pins, in the evenings or whenever your customers are on Pinterest. And one way to do that, if you don't want to be sitting in front of your computer all day long pinning at the exact right times, is to use a service like Tailwind, or another one is Board Booster. There's several different ones out there, and they all do similar things, where you load up your queue of all different pins that you would like to be pinned, and they do it automatically for you. So as soon as it's a peak time, your pin goes out and you could be doing something else. You don't have to be there right that second. So it's a really valuable service that I highly recommend. So Tailwind is the one that I use, but there's a lot of other ones out there that are similar. So any one that you would like. The recommendation is to pin 10 to 30 pins a day. And again, they don't have to be all your own pins. They could be other people's pins, a mixture. So it's not that hard to do because you don't have to be coming up with 30 pins to pin. You can be pinning other people's and only pinning, 5 of your own pins. I actually do 50 pins a day, and I haven't had any problem with that so far. So I don't know why they recommend 10 to 30. I think 50 is fine. The reason I do so many is because I have so many t-shirts, and I want to have as many t-shirts as I can pinned to Pinterest. And I also want to have a mix of other pins. I don't want my board to be all just t-shirts. I want it to be a mixture of a lot of things. So in order to do that and still pin my shirts, I need to be pinning a lot of pins a day. So it's up to you, but the recommended, according to Tailwind and according to other sources, 10 to 30 pins a day is what is recommended. Tip number 4 is to use group boards. This is really important because not only will your followers be seeing your pins, but everyone else's followers on those group boards will be seeing your pins. So this is a really easy way to get your pins more exposure, and you don't even have to pay for it. It's not an ad, it's nothing, and it's going in front of exponentially more people than your own followers. So this is really helpful. There's a lot of ways that you can join group boards. You could see a board that you like and just comment on one of the pins in the board asking if you could be added to the board. You could try to find out who is the person who started the board and ask if you can join their group board. You definitely want to make sure you're following the board before you ask for permission to join the board. It's just common sense. You want the person to know that you're serious and that you really like their board. Another way is just to have people join your boards. So I kind of like doing this because then you're in control of the board, and if someone is posting things that are unrelated, you can just take them off or ask them to stop, but you're in control of it. So you can make sure the quality of the board stays really good. One way to do this is to, in your board description, specifically say that you're welcome to have people ask to join your board. So if people see that, it triggers them to actually ask you. And you really want to make it easy for them. So one thing that I do is I just put my business email address right there in the board. So it'll have people directly email me and ask to be joined to the board. And this happens quite often where people will email me and ask if they can join the board. So it really helps to grow the board. Another thing you can do is just invite people to your board. So if you see boards that you really like and people that are pinning really quality pins, you can just invite them to your board. And sometimes they accept, sometimes they don't, but it's a nice way to grow your own group boards. Also, another thing related to group boards is tribes. So, Tailwind has this. I'm not sure if some of the other services offer it, but it's a way for people that have similar boards to all work together. So, it's called a tribe. It's through Tailwind. So, it's a little different than a group board. What it is, let's say it's about coffee. So it's all these different people are part of this tribe, and they all have different pins related to coffee or recipes or anything related to coffee. And they pin their pins to this tribe. And then you go through and you pick what pins you like the best and you repin those. So it's nice because a group board, you have a little less control. There might be pins that you feel are not that great. But with tribes, you have all the control. So you're posting what you feel is the most quality pins, and other people in your tribe are repinning your pins that they feel are quality. So it's a really nice way to work together. So I highly recommend both. Recommend being in tribes and also participating in group boards. My fifth tip is to gain as many followers as you can. I know that seems obvious, but it's something that you actually have to proactively work on. It happens, the longer you're on Pinterest, the more likely someone is to follow you, but it's helpful if you're actually proactive about it. So there's several different things you can do. One of the best ways is just to follow people that have similar interests as your boards and your page. So if your page is about fitness, you want to follow people who care about fitness, because then once they see that you followed them, there's a certain percentage that just will automatically follow you back. So that's one way. Another way is just participate, just be part of the community. Really make people feel like you care about what they're doing. If you care about them, they're going to want to follow you. So one way to do that is to repin what they're pinning, or just comment. Just be like, oh my gosh, this is so funny, or I tried that coffee and it's delicious, or whatever. You comment, you participate in the community, and then the more you participate, the more you follow people, the more you repin, the more you comment, the more subscribers you're going to get. Or followers. I guess followers is the correct word. So the more followers you have, the reason that this is beneficial is because when you pin something, your followers are going to see it. So the more followers you have, the more eyes are on what you're pinning. So it really helps to grow your brand, grow your business with followers. So tip number 5 is to gain as many followers as you can. Tip number 6 is keywords. This is very important. I can't really stress it enough. You really need to pay attention to what people are searching. So some people like to put really cutesy names for their boards, and it does make your page look cute, or it makes it look interesting if you have all of these unique names. But the problem with that is that it's unlikely that someone is searching for that, unless you just happen to pick something that is something trending that people are searching for. But really make sure that you're putting your titles of your boards as something that people are searching for. So instead of just saying, like, I don't know, something that is not something people are searching for, you really want to make sure it has those main words. So it has the word dog, it has the word puppies, it has whatever are the key words for that board. Make sure that that is what your title is. Also, every board can have a detailed description. So you can describe what's in your board. You can also separate your board into different sections. So really make sure you're using each of those opportunities to put in more keywords. So in your description of your board, you want to have a lot of trending keywords. One easy way to find out what are the keywords that people are searching is type in the most general word in the search bar of Pinterest. So type in dog, for instance. Once you type in dog, underneath that will be all these different labels of different kinds of things that people are searching for. So it'll have puppies, it'll have cute, it'll have treats, dog toys, all different things. So when you see each of those, that's Pinterest telling you what are the keywords that their customers are searching for that are related to dogs. So they're doing all the work for you. All you have to do is take any of those keywords that are applicable to your board and put that into the description. So you just go along and you pick every single keyword that relates. Also, make sure you're putting keywords in the actual description on the pin. So make sure there's at least 1 or 2 words that are pretty trending words that people are searching for. Also, keywords can be in your profile. They could be in your business name. There's a lot of places to slip in some more keywords. And you really want to put in keywords because this is a search engine. People are not going to find your pins unless it comes up when they're searching for a keyword. So really make sure that you're putting in good keywords. All right, tip number 7 is to have a great profile picture. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Most people feel that female pictures do better. I don't know if this is really true. I don't know. But according to most people, it's better if you have a picture of a female and if you make it look like it is just a personal board, even though it's a business board. Because people are more likely to relate to that person. They're more likely to follow you if, since it's mostly females that are using Pinterest, a female picture will do better. So that's one idea. Another idea is to have a picture related to your business. So if your business is fitness, make sure that your picture is really enticing picture about fitness that'll make people interested in that topic want to follow. So just take your time, really think about what your whole Pinterest, all your boards are about, something cohesive that connects everything together. If it's about t-shirts, maybe just a person wearing a t-shirt, anything that has to do with your business, but really make sure it's something that's not blurry, it's not unrelated. Make sure that when people see that picture, it really makes them want to follow you. All right, tip number 8 is analytics. This one is really important, and you're not going to get analytics, unless you have a business profile. So if your Pinterest is a personal account, you're not going to get analytics. So that's why I highly recommend having your whole Pinterest account be a business account, because then you get analytics. And the good thing with analytics is it'll help you see what are the boards that are getting the most clicks, the most repins, the most followers, and also individual pins, what pins are doing the best. So you really want to go through on a consistent basis and look at the analytics and just keep doing more of what is working. Again, all these tips seem so obvious, but it's so important to do those obvious little things. So if you have a pin that's doing really well, really look at that pin and see if you can duplicate that. What are the colors you use? What is the size you used? What keywords did you use? And do that again. Make it a little different the next time. Maybe have it feature a different shirt, but follow the same format. Do as much as you can similar to that pin that did well, because that will help ensure that this next pin will do hopefully just as well. So really look at the analytics, really stop doing what doesn't work and do more of what does work. Tip number 9, be consistent. This is probably the most obvious and the most difficult on this list, and one of the most important. You have to be consistent. This is a long-term game, and it is so important for building your business, building your followers, building your account. If you are consistently, day in and day out, pinning 10 to 30 pins a day, everything else will fall into place. That is the most important, is to I know I've said a couple are the most important. All of these are my top 10, so they're all important. But being consistent is very important, just in life and just in business in general. Anybody who is consistent will see more results than those who are not. You can't just get excited about Pinterest for 1 week and then wonder why you're not successful. It has to be consistent. It has to be over a long period of time that you're consistently doing the actions that are making you successful. And for Pinterest, it is so important. So be consistent. It's not hard, especially if you're using a service like Tailwind. You just pick a day of the week, fill up your whole queue for the week of all the pins you want to repin, and just do it. That's all I can tell you. Just do it and be consistent. All right, my last tip that kind of goes along with that. Number 10, be patient. Patience is not a word that's fun. It's not a sexy word. It's not something that is really all that appealing, but you really need to be patient with Pinterest. Pinterest is worth it. It is something where it has long-term effects. If you have a really viral pin, it stays up there forever. People can search and find it next year and be repinning it. You can get consistent business for years, but you have to be patient. You're not going to have a viral pin your very first pin. You might. It's unlikely. And even if you do, it still takes a while to become viral. You have to wait for each person to repin it and then repin it again. You have to wait to get followers. You really can't give up after the first week or two on Pinterest. You really just need to have it in your mind that this is something that is part of your business. This is something that you are committing to do. And this is something that you're willing to be patient for. If you have a Pinterest account for a couple years, you're going to have a lot of followers. It's hard not to if you're being consistent and you're repinning you're pinning on a consistent basis every day. If you're pinning every day for years, you're going to have a big account. You're going to have a lot of eyes looking on what you're pinning. So just, be patient, be consistent, and if you follow these 10 tips, you're going to be successful. So anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys watching this. Please comment on anything that you liked, any tip that you liked in this video, any questions that you have. Please like the video, and please share with anyone that you think would benefit from this information and anyone that wants to grow their Pinterest account. Thank you guys so much.